We often think we've invented everything, love without rules, breaking traditions, rewriting what it means to be remembered. But long before our time, in the golden age of the Roman Empire, there was a man who lived exactly that way. His name was Hadrian, philosopher, soldier, poet, and emperor. And behind the walls he built and the cities he raised was a love story. A story so profound, so tragic, and so enduring that it echoed across temples, statues, and centuries. But to understand that love, we first need to understand the man. This is part one of the story of Hadrian and Antinous. Let's begin. Hadrian was born in Italica, a Roman settlement in what is now southern Spain, in the year 78 CE. His full name? Publius Aelius Hadrianus, a name that would one day become legend, carved into arches, statues, and history itself. He came from wealth and privilege, his father a Roman senator, his family part of Rome's elite. But fortune can be fragile. At just 10 years old, Hadrian lost his father, and his life changed overnight. He was sent to Rome to live under the guardianship of a powerful relative, Trajan, a stern and rising military commander. Rome was the heart of the empire, loud, political, and restless. Yet, Hadrian found his own rhythm not in power, but in ideas. He became fascinated, no, obsessed, with Greek culture, its art, its philosophy, its vision of beauty and logic. He wasn't like the other noble boys who idolized Julius Caesar or longed for battlefield glory. He studied poetry, he memorized verses, he debated ethics, he dreamt in Greek. His tutors jokingly called him Graculus, Little Greek. But it wasn't a taunt, it was a prophecy. This love for Greece wasn't a phase. It was a framework, one that would shape how he ruled, how he built, how he thought, and how he loved. As Hadrian grew into adulthood, so did his ambition. He entered military service, first as a tribune, learning the ways of command and duty. He was clever, observant, and loyal. But even then, something about Hadrian unsettled people. Perhaps it was his charm, or his sharp intellect, or maybe the way he never quite fit the Roman mold. His relationship with Trajan, though long-standing, wasn't without strain. Some historians whisper of a personal falling out, perhaps jealousy, perhaps politics, perhaps something more intimate. Nevertheless, Hadrian remained useful. He governed provinces, served in key military posts, and married Vibia Sabina, Trajan's grandniece. But the marriage was cold. Sabina never truly connected with Hadrian, and he, as many noted, seemed to prefer the company of men. In 117 CE, while on campaign in the east, Trajan died. No clear heir was announced. But then, suddenly, documents appeared, naming Hadrian as his successor. They were signed by Plotina, Trajan's wife, Hadrian's quiet, long-time supporter. Whether it was planned or improvised, forged or authentic, the empire now had a new ruler, Emperor Hadrian. And from the start, he defied expectations. Most emperors before him pursued conquest, but Hadrian believed in preservation, not expansion. He fortified borders rather than stretch them thin. In the wild, windswept north of Britain, he ordered the construction of Hadrian's Wall, a 73-mile-long symbol of Rome's strength and limits. But Hadrian was more than a soldier-emperor. He was a builder, an architect, a lover of ideas and aesthetics. He personally oversaw construction projects across the empire: cities, libraries, temples, aqueducts. In Athens, he restored the ancient city and was honored as its second founder. In Rome, he rebuilt the Pantheon, whose dome still stands to this day. He spent nearly half his reign traveling, from Africa to Gaul, from the Danube to the Nile. His leadership was not about spectacle, it was about structure. But behind the precision and the marble, there was solitude. His marriage was empty. His health had begun to decline. And perhaps deep down he longed for something he could not design. Connection. That moment would come in 123 CE in the eastern region of Bithynia, near the Black Sea. There in Bithynia, Hadrian met Antinous, a local boy, quiet, beautiful, thoughtful, perhaps 13 or 14. The records are sparse. We don't know what they said to each other, but something passed between them, something neither power nor empire could explain. Hadrian arranged for Antinous to be sent to a prestigious academy in Rome, one that trained youths for life in court. But he wasn't just grooming a page or servant. By 125 CE, Antinous was living with Hadrian, traveling alongside him, dining at his table, joining religious ceremonies. This was not a passing affection. This was companionship. To the Greeks, such relationships between an older man and a youth were often seen not only as romantic, but educational, spiritual, aspirational. Some believe Hadrian saw in Antinous the perfect ideal: beauty, intellect, humility. Others believe it was something even deeper: love, real, undiluted love. And remarkably, Hadrian made no effort to hide it. He walked beside him in public. He honored him at ceremonies. In a world of secrecy, Hadrian lived this truth openly. Hadrian had long admired the wisdom of Greek philosophers. To him, love was not only physical or romantic, it was elevating, a shared pursuit of beauty, virtue, and the divine. He wasn't the first Roman emperor to love men, but Hadrian was the first to love so boldly, so philosophically, so openly. In Antinous, he didn't just find affection, he found a mirror, a muse, someone who embodied the Hellenic ideals he had treasured since boyhood. And as they traveled together through temples, academies, and mysteries, Hadrian wasn't just shaping an empire. He was shaping a legacy of emotion that emperors rarely allowed themselves to show. By 128 CE, Antinous was no longer a boy. He was becoming a man. And Hadrian, though aging and battling illness, seemed somehow renewed in his presence. Together they joined sacred rites, studied Egyptian mysteries. They even visited Heliopolis, seeking spiritual insight, perhaps for healing, perhaps for fate. But whispers had begun. In court, among the Senate, even among the priests, whispers that a boy was growing too powerful, too close. Hadrian didn't flinch. He silenced none of them. Because to him, Antinous was not a secret to hide. He was a light to follow. What neither of them knew was that this light would soon be extinguished. For the next few years, they were inseparable. Hadrian, the most powerful man in the world, Antinous, the quiet boy who held his heart. Together they journeyed from the heart of Rome to the deserts of Egypt, until one final voyage down the Nile River. And what happened there would change everything.